Hey everyone, my name is Lizzie and today we'll be talking about, is homebrewing poisonous? Time and time again, I've heard that homebrewing is poisonous, it can get you blind. And today we're here to just talk about this a little bit and elaborate on the subject. Because no, you still see after drinking your homebrew, whether you've done this for weeks, months, or years, I don't know anyone personally who's been blind or been poisoned from their homebrew. If anything, people have had alcohol poisoning from the bottles that they buy from the liquor store. And this is simply when you drink too much. So where does this thought come from that alcohol can be poisonous? Number one, let's talk about the distillation aspect first. There are two types of drinks when you're homebrewing. There are fermented drinks and there are distilled drinks. So the difference between both is that fermented drinks can go up to roughly 20% alcohol. Therefore, this includes beer, cider, wine, sake, moonshine, and other low percentage alcohol drinks. If you're talking about the big leagues like rum, vodka, tequila with 35% or more alcohol, you're gonna need distillation to complete these drinks. And one of the reasons that people might think that homemade drinks are poisonous is because of the distillation. So distillation, what it means, it's purifying the alcohol. Therefore, you have the alcohol once it's fermented and the alcohol after it's fermented, it has to be distilled. And the better quality of alcohol comes inside the still, the better quality of alcohol will come out of it. And what the still does, it purifies your alcohol. Therefore, it removes all the extra gunk, all the sugar, all the water, all the yeast, and it refines it into a pure product that typically is transparent, and this will have certain flavors and esters depending on the still that you use. However, this is where you want to be careful because there are three parts of the alcohol that you extract from the still. So you have the first part, which is the heads, and this is where the poisonous aspect may come from because there is a lot of methanol in the heads, and this is toxic to humans. Therefore, we want to either throw it, but a lot of homebrewers reuse this for a second batch. And once you're done with the heads, you can drink the heart, which is the middle part. The middle part is good to drink. It has the nice flavors, the nice odors. And this is typically what homebrewers keep. And then there's the tails, which is the end part of the alcohol. And this one has more weird smells and has a little bit of harsh taste. So people tend to throw the tails or the third part of their distilled batch. However, if you're making mezcal, for example, it has a distinct smoky flavor. Mezcal producers use these tails in order to complete their mezcal recipe. So distillation is the first reason why people might think that homemade alcohol is poisonous. However, if you simply drink the heart of your product, you'll be fine. And if you're only doing fermented drinks like beer, cider, or wine, there is no risk of it being poisonous if you keep using the ingredients that we're going to talk about later in the video. The second aspect that people might think is the reason for homebrewing being poisonous is the equipment. But you have to make sure to clean and disinfect it. What I do, I have a glass fermenting jar that's 5 liters or 1 gallon. And I wash this like I wash the regular dishes. So it's soap, a sponge, I rinse it. And one thing to not use is boiling water when washing this fermenting jar, because I've tried it once and it broke my jar. Therefore, I would not suggest it. What you can use instead, if you do not want to wash this like regular dishes, you can also use Star San. Star San is a cleaning product that homebrewers use to disinfect their equipment. And the reason why disinfecting and cleaning your equipment is important, aside cleanliness reasons, is because yeast is a fungus. So fungus is in the realm of bacteria, and you don't want too much bacteria or fungus to grow in an unhealthy way when making your batch. However, once you clean and disinfect, there's nothing to worry about. The jar remains closed when the alcohol is fermenting, therefore no outside particles can come inside your fermentation. Another thing to note about your equipment is that you have the option for your fermenting jar to use either glass, either plastic, or either metal. For those in team glass, the downfall is that it only comes in 1 gallon batches. Therefore, if you want to make tons and tons, it might take you a lot of these little jars. to reach the amount of alcohol that you'd like. And if ever it breaks, there could be little shards of glass that end up in your homebrew, which could be dangerous. Therefore, do not drink alcohol if glass falls inside. For those in Team Plastic, this is a little bit harder to clean than glass because of the little scratches, the little cracks that could be hard to reach, and therefore Star San would be the best for these huge 5 liters of plastic fermenting jars because they can get in the nicks and knacks of the bucket. And the third type of container that you can use for home brewing is metal. However, this I would not suggest at all unless you're a commercial brewer, because commercial brewers use this all the time. Huge fermenting containers that are metallic. However, the difference is that those are made with stainless steel. And if you're a regular brewer like you and I, we would have access to pots, to pans, and the material in these pots and pans are typically copper or aluminum, and these materials react to acid. Therefore, we want to avoid this at all costs, and that would make your home brewing poisonous. I agree, so do not use metal, do not use your pots and pans for fermenting your alcohol. You can use it at the beginning when you're mixing all your ingredients together and dissolving the sugar, dissolving the hops, dissolving the malt. However, once you want to transform this liquid into alcohol, I would suggest to use a glass or plastic fermenting jar. And what's inside your fermentation brings us to the third point of why homemade alcohol cannot be poisonous. It's because of the ingredients that you use. And the ingredients that are used are all simple ingredients that you can find at the grocery store. Let's take red wine, for example. What I use is organic cranberry juice, sugar, water, yeast, and the yeast that I use is EC1118. And all these ingredients, you can find it at the grocery store. Except for the yeast, you can find baker's yeast. However, no yeast that are used for home brewing are poisonous. Yeast is used for bread, and we eat bread, therefore people eat yeast, and it's blended in some foods, and in this case it could be blended in your alcohol. But to not drink your yeast, there's always a way of separating the liquids from the yeast that ends up at the bottom of your jar. So that's for red wine. If you're making beer, you use water, hops, malt, and hops comes from a plant, and sugar. You also use malt that can either be in form of extract, so liquid or powdered extract that you can use, and it's sweet. It can replace sugar, therefore no toxic ingredient there. And when it comes to making cider, instead of using water or organic cranberry juice, I use apple juice from the store, and all the other ingredients are the same. Therefore, apple juice, sugar, and yeast, and all these are safe ingredients to use. And once mixing them together, they just make beautiful magic, and nothing in your homebrewing experience should be toxic. There are home brewers that add extra items in their homebrew. For example, if they want to make sure that the yeast falls to the bottom, they can add clay. Clay I've never done. I would not add anything extra, just the main basic ingredients. And let me know in the comments below if you've ever added odd things inside your homebrew, and if so, what were they? And if you'd like to make alcohol in the simplest and with the most natural ingredients, book a class. The link is in the description below. And if you found this video valuable, share it with a friend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.